Democrats are unified. You saw that yesterday. We're unified behind lowering costs, creating good paying jobs, and building safer communities. The contrast between House Democrats on the chaos and confusion taking place on the other side of the aisle could not be more clear. For the first time in 100 years, there was not an agreement for Speaker of the House on the first ballot. Multiple ballots, and almost 24 hours later, there's still no clear sign of a Speaker. Let's hope that this isn't a rerun of 1855 and 56 when it took 133 ballots. What we saw was the true character of the modern day Republican Party, obsessed with power and their own personal advancement at the expense of working families and the needs of everyday Americans. That makes it harder for us to find common ground, but that's what we seek to accomplish. We want to work with reasonable Republicans and continue our record of bipartisan legislative achievements in this Congress, but we need willing partners in order to do that work. And right now, those willing partners are in short supply. I now have the privilege of introducing, for the first time in this role, caucus vice chair, my colleague and friend from California and classmate from the class of 2014, Representative Ted Lieu.
Thank you, Chairman Aguilar. And I first want to say that the chairman gave a terrific nominating speech for Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker. And I know that Chairman Aguilar had to give that speech 3 times, and we only nominated one person because Democrats are unified. And if you saw what Democrats did when we were in control of the House, we passed the American Rescue Plan to get our economy back on track. We passed the infrastructure law to rebuild America. And we passed the Inflation Reduction Act to reduce our deficit and tackle climate change. And in contrast, when Republicans are in control, you get chaos, confusion, and crisis. Now, yesterday, many Americans saw this confusion and crisis. And look, for one day, I think it was unfortunate. We can deal with that. But now it gets serious, because we effectively don't have a House of Representatives. This can't keep on going. You can't have one branch of the federal government simply not function. And so I hope that Republicans are able to nominate and unify behind one person, whoever that may be, because we need Republicans to govern if they can. If they cannot, then they should let Democrats govern.
Questions to start? Javier from Telemundo. Look, these are all hypotheticals. Something like that has been done historically in the past. We're not going to entertain that from this podium. Right now, our caucus is prepared to advance the name of Hakeem Jeffries, the lead vote getter for the first 3 ballots. That's what we plan to do right now. But look, we understand the options in front of us. But we're not going to engage in any hypotheticals at this point. Go.
For a House that is not making agreements in the basics, what does that tell to the American people about the new Congress?
I think it's unfortunate. As the vice chair said, this is who they are. Crisis, confusion, disarray. It's unfortunate that's what the modern day House Republican Conference looks like. But we knew that. We knew that going in to this, and they've delivered exactly who we thought they were in that respect. It's unfortunate, and as the vice chair mentioned, this is going to start to impact operations of the House moving forward. We want to find that common ground. We hope that there are Republicans that we can work with in the future, but this is the key organizing principle of Congress, which is the first item of business before our members can take their oaths, and it's unfortunate. I feel bad for the relatives, the spouses, partners, and family members who came to town. For new members, some of them might have to depart town. We remember being new members and what that was like, to take a picture, even with the speaker of the opposing party. Like, a lot of people spent so much time and energy to win these offices on both sides of the aisle. And so I feel for those family members who now have to navigate those travel plans. Max?
Have you heard reports from any of your members being approached by moderate Republicans about potentially backing a unity candidate for Speaker?
Again, I mean, these the hypotheticals. I haven't been approached about any of that. We know that some of those have been reported, and some of those I don't think there's a lot of basis in fact. We've been very clear that we want to work. We want to work to deliver legislative achievements to the American public. If there was something that was real, we would look at that. But I haven't seen any proof that Republicans are willing to engage. Lisa?
Sort of an easy one, but we're at this point where there are no committees, there are no House rules. I believe you all are not members of Congress yet. I believe you are. Tell us about what your status and what is this time like right now, and what does it mean for your ability to get things done as members?
We haven't been sworn in. We're representatives elect. I'm told that the rules, the laws still apply to us, but we're representatives elect waiting to take an oath. But there could be a point at which it does mean something to the constituents that we serve, whether we can engage in casework on their behalf and help individuals navigate the federal bureaucracy, back at home. We want to do everything we can to help.
Question. Are there typical things that you guys can be doing that are limited right now?
Right now, our focus and we're working with our staffs to make sure that we're following the letter and the spirit of everything that we're allowed to do. But we don't have status as members until we organize, and that's unfortunately as a result of this Republican chaos. And so, there will come points where other things are impacted. Committees can't hire their staff members as well because there are no committee chairs and ranking members. This is a crisis of the Congress, and it's a crisis at the hands of the Republican dysfunction. And so that's where we are until we have the main organizing principle, which is electing someone to lead this Congress and taking our oaths, which is so important. Vice Chair?
Thank you. I just want to follow up on what Chairman Aguilar said. Because we haven't been able to negotiate ratios with the Republicans, that they've said they can't do that until they have a speaker. We can't even appoint any of our own members to any committee. So that slows everything down for a pretty long time because we can't even constitute committees. So this is having a very real world impact. And again, it's because of Republican chaos and dysfunction that you're seeing.
In the front.
Looking forward even further, assuming eventually somebody ends up being the speaker, is there a different way that House Democrats in a minority are going to have to approach legislating when it comes to, must-pass bills to fund the government, the debt ceiling, and working across the aisle with Senate Republicans who still hold a filibuster over there? Is there any thoughts on how you guys will approach that?
Our legislative achievements of the last Congress are very clear, and there is important work to be done to implement that agenda. Our focus is very clear, but the House of Representatives at its core, and as you saw yesterday, is a majority-run institution. There are bills that we need to get done. There are bills that historically have and continue to be bipartisan. I think of like the Farm Bill, and I think of the National Defense Authorization Act. Those are things that likely, could get done if we had willing partners on the other side who wanted to work in a collaborative way. Those are things that historically have gotten done, and we look forward to working with our colleagues. But the key organizing principle in front of us is that we have to have a speaker, and you can't have committees, ranking members, and chairs until you have that key step, and that's where we are.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given your concerns, have you had any conversations, or has there been any outreach from the other side of the aisle, and would any of your members be willing to vote present?
No, we haven't had those conversations with our colleagues. Our colleagues, as you saw yesterday, are committed to support Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker. I plan to nominate him again at the top of the noon hour, and we'll have a roll call vote, and we'll see what's changed. But that's on our colleagues on the other side of the aisle to determine if something has changed. But I'm not aware of any outreach. Mariana?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I know you don't want to engage in hypotheticals, but we're obviously still at a point waiting to see if McCarthy has enough votes. Jordan, obviously getting votes. Scalise is obviously the number 2. If McCarthy can't get there, maybe he throws his hat in the ring. What is your relationship with both of those men, or all of your Democratic leaders now? How do you see yourself maybe working with Scalise or Jordan if we get to that point? Understand it's hypothetical, but you have relationships with them.
I can tell you that the Representative Scalise, reached out to members of our leadership team. After our internal caucus organizing, he reached out and congratulated us on the positions. I think he reached out and talked to Leader Jeffries and Whip Clark and I. I've had a cordial relationship with him. Obviously, is an adversary on the baseball field, kind of grounded in that. But it hasn't been a working relationship. It's just been very cordial. We respect the office that all of them hold, but we look forward. This is on them. Whoever they advance, I hope it's someone we can work in a positive way for the American public. But I don't know if that's going to be Kevin McCarthy, Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan. Chaos and confusion is the rule of the day over there, and so we just don't know what that will lead to. And many of us individually have come from delegations, worked with members on the other side of the aisle in committees, sometimes on social things like the baseball stuff, obviously. And so some of us have these, relationships where we can disagree. I know the vice chair as well, has relationships where we are going to disagree with our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, but we can still be, cordial about it. I look forward to more of that in the future. But the key organizing principle in front of us is we've got to elect a speaker and take an oath.
I was in the California State Legislature with Kevin McCarthy at the same time. I've known him for many years. Whether or not he's speaker, it's very clear that that position has already been significantly weakened because of what happened yesterday and what happened before. Essentially, Kevin McCarthy has agreed that if he were to be speaker, he could be fired at any time if 5 members basically said they wanted to have a motion to vacate. So that puts a significant leverage opportunity for the caucus and the Republicans to do whatever they want to fire their own speaker. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I know they've already weakened that position just by having that agreement.
Amen.
Mr. Chairman, given all the uncertainty going on right now, January 6th, the 2-year anniversary is coming up on Friday. I wanted to know if you had any thoughts, given your role on the committee, and with everything going on right now with the speaker's race, there is that cloud of January 6th, the 2-year anniversary on Friday. So I want to know if you had any thoughts on Friday.
Yeah, it's not lost on me the week that we obviously have this in front of us, and the organizing that this Congress has to do, but it's not lost on anyone on our side of the aisle the importance and significance of January 6th, this Friday. I look forward to participating in events or in any opportunity that allows me to reflect on that day. All of us in the chamber have our experiences personally from that day, but what that means to the officers who protected this chamber and held that last line on our behalf, and the threat that democracy faced that day. But for me personally, the wind down of the January 6th committee, the respect and reverence that I hold for Benny Thompson and Liz Cheney and the other members of the committee for the work that they did in advancing that final report. It's something that I still probably haven't taken in as much, given the aggressive schedule that we've had and the importance of the work that is in front of us. But my belief is that Leader Jeffries will in some way demonstrate that House Democrats are committed to remembering that day and the sacrifices of those who protected this place, this chamber, and this democracy. Scott.
Last question we got.
Scott.
I know the committee itself has disbanded now, and the new
any public appearances?
The vice chair's been keeping me busy doing this job, so so that's my focus. The caucus work and the caucus role that I occupy is the primary focus of me and my office. We spent so much time, and some of you I've said this to privately, and I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but it kind of feels like camp. The 9 of us spent so much time together. I also feel like maybe we needed a little bit of time apart this holiday season. We just spent so much time reading documents, sitting in depositions, trading texts and emails. We still have a group text thread. We still communicate happy holidays. We're very mindful that a couple members have moved on. Very thankful for their service and wish them all the best in their future endeavors. And I look forward to staying in contact with those members, the retiring members specifically, Liz and Elaine, Stephanie and Adam. The time and space we occupied, 18 months doing that work, just personally means so much to me as a legislator. But at the appropriate time, look, if there's invitations, if there's things, if those members want to get together, whether it's in a social occasion or whether it's in something more formal to talk about the work that we did, I'd welcome that opportunity. But right now in front of us, this is the job I have. This is a job the vice chair and I asked for, and the thing that I want to do, and I want to do it well. Thank you, guys. Yeah. On January 6th.
First, I just want to say Chairman Aguilar did an amazing job on the January 6th committee, as well as the entire committee. And the significance of January 6th wasn't just the attack on our Capitol. It was why it was that day. It's because it was certification of the Electoral College results. Imagine if we had to do that right now. We couldn't, because we don't even have a House of Representatives that's been sworn in. So I ask the American people, 2 years from now, would they want a Republican majority in the House who couldn't even get together and swear in members? I don't think American people are going to want that. I hope they consider that 2 years from now.
Thank you.
Are you going to oppose a motion to adjourn?
We'll see what happens.